Hi my loves, how's it going? How you guys doing? Welcome or welcome back to another video, and today's video is going to be about my category inventory. So I'm going to be talking about all the inventory numbers that I've got for perfume, skincare, haircare and makeup, I think in that order anyway. And that is because I wanted to do like a 6 month check-in with you guys, but I don't want to like do individual videos like I did at the start of the year, because honestly it's so much work trying to take everything out and kind of like taking videos and clips and stuff, especially when it comes to makeup. Like that is extremely exhausting because I have such a massive like collection and it can be quite painful, and I don't want to overwhelm myself more than I already am. So I'm just going to go through all the numbers with you guys today. If you like this video, please make sure you subscribe and like the video so I can hopefully continue to make more of these like inventory posts. And if you prefer seeing the style of like having like pictures or even just like video clips of these inventories, let me know, because when I'm doing the next one in January, hopefully I will then make sure to include pictures or videos as well. But let's just get right into the video. You're gonna have to excuse the lighting, it's not really much I can do because the sun is literally on this side for most of the day, and it can get really weird just with like how high or how it kind of moves. So I do apologize about the lighting changes that happen because of that reason. But I wanted to sort of start off with the one category I am so far extremely impressed with myself. That was poorly worded, but I've been kind of like on a perfume project plan and a perfume no buy since last year, June, July, I want to say. And since then, I've actually been trying really hard to use up my perfumes. Majority of the perfumes I have used up have actually been my samples, but I'm glad that I did focus on them because I do have a bad habit of ignoring the samples and not trying to use them up and just doing whatever. And samples don't last forever either, and they're also the easiest thing to use up. So I kind of did cheat to get my inventory down, but I have still used up a good amount of like full size perfume. So last year in June I think I had about 55, and that was literally the highest amount of perfumes I've had ever in my life. Obviously that does include a lot of samples at the time, but I have still made a massive dent in my perfume collection. I noticed quite a few had expired or were on like the scent had changed, and I didn't like that. And I decided at that point that I'm going to start using up as many of the perfumes as I can, especially the older ones. And I have like two full size perfumes and three samples or minis, whatever I feel like kind of doing. And that's just having pen in it. At the start of the year, I had 43 perfumes that had already made quite a dent, and I used up a lot of like the samples and a few other like big perfumes, which I did post as part of like my beauty MTs throughout 2024 video. I'll try and link that somewhere. And then now, the last time I actually checked and did my inventory, I had 32. So again, I've made like a massive dent in how much perfume that I have. I have used up, I think, maybe one or two more perfumes since I last sat and did this like inventory, and I'm really happy to see that. A lot of them were small samples, but again, they take up space, and I feel like it just makes sense to kind of use up the samples and focus on like two other perfumes that I can. So I'd always have like two full size perfumes, and I'd kind of like interchangeably use them. And then the sample ones I'd use when I was going out to see if I actually liked the scent or not. And I would be kind of strategic in that sense because I work from home. I would normally grab one of the two of the full size perfumes and kind of use it like that. And I'm really glad I've made such a big difference. I also do use some perfumes as like a body, not body spray, sorry, as like a room spray or even like a spray for my bed, just so that it smells nice when I'm going into it. And that is just for some perfumes that I felt like were too expired to use on myself because the scent no longer smells nice, or it was just like where the scent had changed, it I didn't really feel comfortable wearing it out and I didn't like it anymore. So yeah, I have still made a massive dent. I have a goal of just having like a much more curated perfume collection, just so I can kind of like move through a couple and just use those up. I love the idea of having a load of perfumes, but at the same time, I don't have the correct sort of space in this house, in this room, to sort of keep those perfumes, because in the summer the sun is mainly in this room for the majority part of the day, and it gets extremely hot in here. So I do feel like that does contribute to how fast stuff expires, even though the inner wardrobe to the side away, but still it just gets really disgustingly hot here, and I think that's a contributing factor. But that was like way too long of a conversation about that. but I'm just glad to see that it has gone down. I would ideally like to be down to 20 perfumes at the end of the year. I don't know if that is necessarily going to happen because I do have some perfumes that are like half a used, if not more than that. So there is like a possibility that could happen, but at the same time, not really. We will see. Even if I get down to 25, again, that's like fantastic because that's such a big difference starting off at 55 and going down to 25. That's crazy. And I would love that for me. I do have a whole bunch of other scents I would love to buy, but I'm kind of trying to hold off buying them just till I can at least use up some more. I think that would be kind of nice, and I can get to really treat myself and not feel guilty about my purchases because that's the biggest thing I've had for all of these like inventory or categories that you'll see. I've had like a lot of guilt buying stuff either through because I was in debt, I had too much stuff, I'm already not using things, and just so many other reasons as well. So it's just nice when I can physically see a massive change. Next, sort of category or inventory was to do with hair care. And this is one that just has like four categories within. And at the start of the year, I had eight hair washes. That just includes things like shampoos and conditioners. And in July, at the start of July, I was at seven. So number wise, it's not been like the biggest change. But product wise, I've actually used up a lot of the old stuff that I had. And I bought in a lot of new things that like sort of throughout this year. But whenever I buy hair care products, I never just buy the one. I always buy like two or three, and the reason for that is because I don't like the idea of constantly having to shop, especially if I'm doing an online order, because a lot of the times I can't find the shampoos that I want in store, or they don't really carry the range that I necessarily need. So I'd rather if I'm gonna buy something and if it's on sale, I'll just order it online. And if I'm doing that, I want to get at least two or three so I can avoid shopping for some time. I also have to try and avoid sort of places like shops and just like online and physically to sort of help me manage at the moment of me breaking away from like the need to just buy. And this has been working well. So number one, it's not looking great, but I have actually used up a lot of shampoos and conditioners and stuff like that. And I've got like like all the stuff mainly now is all new things I bought this year, which is good because that means all the old stock has gone. But that does also mean by the end of the year I probably have less. I think I already have like used up two more things since then because they were like on its last leg, but because they weren't quite finished, I still had to include them. So I'm probably down to like five at the moment. So that's still like nice to see that it's getting used up basically. Um, the next part of like the hair care inventory is oils, and that's just any sort of oils that I use. So that's either pre-wash or the ones that you'd use afterwards to like sort of protect your hair. At the start of the year, I had nine, and I'm now down to seven. So I have actually used up two like mini little like hair oil like things, and I'm not the biggest fan of that company that I use the hair oils from. But that being said, I'm just glad that I was able to use them up. I think that was really nice. And I know I've got seven, but I am close. I have two that I'm pretty sure I will be done with by the end of the year, possibly a third one, depending on how well I go back into a routine with my hair care. And there is a chance I could use it more. So that is really nice to see. But hair oils do last a long time, especially the full size ones. So yeah, like the last couple of years I spent trying to use one of the hair oils up, and that took me forever to use. It took me about 3 years of with on and off use, and I was finally able to get it done last year, I think in December. So yeah, and this year I could finally start using the other ones. So hopefully this inventory will go down. I do want to try other hair oils, so that will be really nice. But I do want to use up what I have because hair oils can last for a very long time. Then we move over to treatments. So with treatments, it's just anything to do with like scalp serums, scalp scrubs, just anything else that would work as some kind of like a treatment, whether that's like a hair mask or anything like that. Just all of that sort of stuff falls into this category for me. At the start, I had 21 and I'm now down to 14, which is really good to see. I think this was another category that I was struggling with quite a lot because I couldn't figure out how to use a lot of this stuff or like just be bothered to sort of use those things because a lot of the stuff that I had, I didn't necessarily buy myself, but I got it as like a free gift purchase through either like an actual gift or it was part of like a goodie bag that you'd get for free if you spent so much money. And I'm trying to also avoid getting those because as great as it might seem, a lot of the times you end up with products that you don't necessarily like or that work for you. So I'm trying to avoid that habit. I think like in 2020 I think 2020 or 2021 is when I first discovered them. And I had so many. I used to get so many of them, and it got to a point it was seriously getting ridiculous. And so far this year, I don't think I've had a single one. I think last year I had maybe one or two, but it just goes to show like how each year I've kind of gone less and less with it, which is fantastic. And the fact that I'm now down to 14 is great. I know by the end of the year I'll have even less than this, but it's just a matter of me continuing to use up what I currently have. And it's been really helpful that I threw so many of these into my 50 Shades of Black project pan, because it makes me need to like pan them. Because if I didn't throw them into a project, I would not be touching them, which is really silly, but I'm so glad I did that for myself. And the sort of last part of the hair care inventory is to do with styling products. That's like gels, hairsprays, any sort of like curling cream products, just anything like that. I started off the year with six, and I'm now got four. And hopefully by the end of the year, I have three. That'll be great. Ideally, I would like less than that. I don't really feel like I need that many sort of like styling products. I rarely ever style my hair. I used to do it a lot more before, but now I try to just like braid my hair and leave it like that most of the times. I also work from home, so I don't really style my hair that often, and I'll only ever like really style it if I'm going to like an event or like a wedding or something like that, which I've had three of so far, and I'll have a fourth one coming very soon. So yeah, that's the only really time I kind of go ahead and use styling products. Otherwise, I don't really use it. And yeah, I think I need to buy products not because they're on sale or anything like that, but buy specific things that I feel like I'm actually going to use, rather than having a bunch of stuff and not really getting around to using it. Next, we move over to body care, and I feel like I've done really well this year in terms of trying to get all of these numbers down, and I've really made a massive dent in like how much I have, because I used to have a drawer, like I have a drawer set, it's got three drawers, and then each drawer has different products in it. So the first one has like skincare, the middle one's got all body care stuff, and like my acne, you know, the Starface stickers, I keep all those in there, and body care stuff. And the last drawer usually has hair care, and those drawers are starting to look very empty, and I'm really happy to see that. So the first sort of, I guess, category within would be first cleansers. So that's anything to do with like cleansing balms or cleansing oils. I started off the year with five. I'm now down to three, and I'm actually close to using up both of two more products, which will leave me with just one. And that means I can actually finally start to repurchase new products from this year onwards, which I think will be really nice, because I'm so bored at this point. I'm so bored, but I'm trying not to like buy anything new just yet. We then move over to face washes. I had five at the start. Well, I'm now down to four according to my numbers, but actually since then I have used up another one, which has been fantastic, which means I now have just, ideally I now have three, but for July's sake, we've got four. But it's been nice that I've been able to use products up. With toners, I had four at the start, I'm now down to two, and I think I've used, yeah, so since I've done that inventory, I've used up another one. So like to date, I just have one, but for number's sake, I had two in July, and I'm hoping I can get that done as well. So I'll have zero toners, and then when I do a new haul, I can buy a bunch of stuff that I really want to try. We then had serums. I had nine at the start. I'm now down to three. I have two retinols, I think, and one other serum. Oh, it's part of like this Wild Mint PR package that I got, which I need to do a video about as well at some point. But yeah, I'm down to three, which is great, and I'm hoping I can just continue using things up as I go. Then we have eye creams. I had four at the start, and now down to one, which is fantastic. Then we had moisturizers. I had eight at the start. Then I ended up taking, I think, two or three from my mum and using a bunch of that sort of stuff up. And now I've got six, which is nice. But part of moisturizers isn't actually just moisturizers. I've got things like skin. It's like a firming balm, which isn't really a moisturizer, but it's not a firming balm. It's, I think if your skin is irritated, you'd use that balm. So I have that. I've got two of those type of products, and then the rest is more like actual moisturizers. So technically, don't actually have six moisturizers, but I have to kind of put them somewhere. So I put them with that within the moisturizing category. Ideally, I would like to use up everything that I have, because I'm kind of getting bored of the stuff that I currently own, and I don't really like that. Face oils, I had three, I still have three. I am really struggling when it comes to using face oils. In the winter times, before I used to do slugging, so I do like all my skincare routine, then I do my, after my moisturizer, I would do a skin oil, a face oil, sorry, and then I'd go in with Vaseline and kind of lock it all in. That was really nice, and my skin used to be nice and glowy and soft. but I fell off that and I just feel like it's too much effort to do. But I really need to try and get back into that during sort of colder months, and hopefully I can have these used up as well. Sunscreens, I started off with 8, I'm now down to 5, and I think with this, I gave one away to my cousin because she needed the sunscreen, and then I ended up getting one anyway because I broke my nose and I bought a box which I don't necessarily need, but I still bought it. So yeah, I'm down to 5, but I am very close to using 2 of them up, which would leave me with even less, which is fantastic. Then we have masks. I had 6, I'm now down to 5, which is nice. I'm hoping to use up more of the masks that I have so that I can go ahead and buy new stuff when I next do a repurchase. With masks, ideally I only need 2 types. One is a clay mask because I have oily skin, and the other one is like a peel off mask, which is like the charcoal ones that you just like put on the face every now and again and you just take it off and it feels like all like the rubbish has just come out of your skin. I think those are the only 2 types of masks ideally I would need, or anything that's more like a night treatment kind of mask that helps with like maybe acne pigmentation or scarring and stuff like that. Otherwise, I don't really need like more than 2, 3 types of masks. So yeah, I need to get that down. Lip balms, I can't believe I had 21 at the start of the year. I'm now down to 16, which is crazy. I think I decluttered one because it was like expired and it was disgusting. Like it was actually rancid. But yeah, even still, I'm now down to 16, which is great. I do hope to get this number even further. I don't know how much or how likely that is because I try to use a mix up of lip balms and lip glosses and lipsticks throughout the year so that I can kind of get my numbers down altogether. I kind of sometimes use gloss as exchange as a lip balm because sometimes some of them can be like fairly hydrating and they just feel really nice on the lips. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. There is one other one that I really want to use up, and it's one of the Summer Friday ones because I had like 2 of the same colors. It's like the pink sugar one. I end up with 2 of them, so I'm trying to use that one, and then I'll just have one more of the big one. And I think I have like 2 or 3 other like minis, so I'll then move over to those ones next, and then hopefully that will get my inventory down a little bit further. And then I'm just going to concentrate on using up as many lip oils and lip glosses as I can to hopefully get this number down, like my lip gloss number down even more by the end of the year. So that's kind of the plan with that. But yeah, no, there's a few more. So we had like skin treatments. I had 8 at the start. I'm down to 5. I want to use up this completely so I can buy new stuff that's like brand new and stuff that I actually need from my skincare, or skin needs particularly. Then we had hand care, which is 6. I still have 6 now. Technically, I think I've actually lost one of them and I cannot find it anywhere. And I don't remember if I've maybe left it at someone's house, which is really sad because it was actually one of my favorites. And I cannot find it anywhere. So I think I need to just like take the L and just update this. And I then need to also update one of my project plans because that was part of one of the projects and I'll need to replace that with something else, which sucks, but it's fine. Because that was one I was almost done with as well, which is really sad. But yeah. And then the last category within is body care. I had 20 at the start, I'm down to 14 now. But body care is just everything. So any sort of like deodorants, lotions, sort of any sort of body products, like shower gels, just anything that I feel like I would use on my body. I'm trying to see what else I could possibly use, like any foot creams, stuff like that. Just anything bodily related, like body oils, that all falls into this category because I didn't want to have like another category, like skincare one for body care because I knew I'd never had that many products. So it just didn't really make sense for me to do that. And for that reason, I just bunched all that stuff together. So yeah, at the start I had 20, I'm down to 14, which is still an impressive amount. And I do feel like I can get this even less because I had a lot of body lotions and I'm trying to use them up. I have 2 that I made really good progress on, and I'm probably another like 2 or 3 months I will have them both used up. And then I have like a foot cream that I've been using, and that will be done soon too, which will also take this down. And I will just see with the rest of it. Like deodorants come and go, so we'll just see with that. But like I had a lot of like body lotion products, and I'm really trying to just use up everything that I can. I don't know how I even ended up with so many body lotions. Is a thing. I don't know why the hell I was buying so many. But yeah, I for whatever dumb reason I was, and I just ended up with so many. So I'm just trying to like make an effort to use up everything that I can. And it's been working. I've been really forcing myself into a routine and I keep falling off it, and I'm having a really hard time with routines. So if you guys have any advice, please let me know. But yeah, I'm just trying to just use up whatever I can. And I'm trying to like keep in mind, obviously, if I use these things up, I then have the opportunity to buy a bunch of new stuff that I can then use going forward. So I'm trying to like allow myself to have that at the forefront and be like, okay, if I actually use these things, I can buy new things. So then I won't feel bored. I'm trying to use that as like a motivating factor, and it's kind of working, but I still have some ways to go. Now we're going to move over to the makeup sort of inventory of this. And within makeup, there's a lot of categories. But also just keep in mind that one, I haven't used much makeup throughout 2025. That is because for about 3.5 months of the year, I was quite sick. And then I had like some depressive episodes in between, and I just didn't really do my makeup that often. And yeah, so technically, if you just write off like 4 months, I've only really had 2 months worth of makeup progress. And even then, it wasn't exactly 2 months worth of makeup progress. It was like less than that. So just keep that in mind. And the other thing is as well, I've ended up buying stuff because I broke my no buy. I'll be really surprised. No. But yeah, I did buy some stuff, and some of these inventory like categories within have like jumped quite a lot. Yeah, and that's just all I can really say. But hopefully, at some point, I can actually go back and get these categories down. Start off with brows. I had 6 in January. I'm now down to 5, which is great because I think I'll use up another 1 or 2 by the end of the year. Then we move over to primers. I had 9 at the start. I'm now down to 8, and hopefully by the end of the year, I use up another 2 to 3, which I can kind of see happening. Eyeshadow palettes, I had 237, and I'm now down to 241. I don't think I necessarily bought that many palettes. I did end up decluttering a bunch, I think some point during 2023 and 2024. And I left them away, but when it came to actually getting rid of them, getting them out of the house, I ended up wanting to keep them. So I didn't necessarily buy that many palettes. I mean, I already had them, but I'd kind of like decluttered them from my collection and then just added them back in because I couldn't let them go. But yeah, and so far this year, I've only bought one eyeshadow palette, which is crazy, right? That's crazy. I'm so impressed with myself. But yeah, I'm hoping that this can actually go back down again because that's too many palettes for somebody who doesn't do makeup often. And there's a lot of palettes that are very just like subpar or just meh for me. And I don't necessarily want to keep them in my collection, but I just have a really hard time with letting go of stuff. So we'll see how much I can try and get rid of and then sell on Vinted. I'll always link my Vinted down below because I never know when I'm going to post stuff. It's just there if anybody's ever interested. So yeah. Then we move over to liquid eyeshadows, and I had 25. I still have the same 25. I don't really buy that many of these, but every now and again I see some shades and I'm like, oh, that looks really good. I would love to have that. However, the downside of that is a lot of liquid eyeshadows don't work for me because they don't dry down that quickly, and because they don't dry down to like a not necessarily matte, they just don't dry down. It kind of like creases up all over in like, my eye folds. There's nothing I can do about that, and it sucks. So yeah, I should probably start decluttering some of those, and eventually I think I will. I had single eyeshadows. I counted as just anything that's either in a single pot pan or just actual like things I've depotted or actual products that get sold as singles. So like Glamour Cosmetics, they sell a lot of like just single eyeshadows. So it's like a mishmash of all of that sort of stuff. So at the start I had 166, and that is because I did not include I think my Cliona Cosmetics eyeshadows in that inventory when I first put the numbers in, and now I have 211. And I don't necessarily believe I've added 40 single shadows or 50. That could be a possibility, but I don't necessarily think so because I am pretty sure I didn't do my Cliona Cosmetics products within the 166. So there is that, but that's a bit of a confusing thing. I don't 100% know, but I guess we'll just find out at some point in the year. We move over to eyeliners. I had 93 and I'm now down to 81 because I decluttered a lot. There's a lot of stuff that was expired or dried out and it was just irritating my eyes. Got rid of it all. I don't need that many. I have so many like duplicate shades. I would love to just have like a couple like the multi-chrome ones from Kaleidos, which are really lovely. And I know Colourpop does something similar to that, which is nice, but I also really love the Colourpop eyeliners because they're really, really good. So ideally, my number would be around 2030, not 81. But within that, I also do have all of my like wet liners as well, which I have a lot for somebody who doesn't really use them. So that is something I need to like sort out. At the start of the year, I had 9 mascaras. I had 9 at the start of July, but I gave one to my mom. So officially, I mean, that was almost done anyway. So she just has it. She never really uses it, but she just wanted something. So technically, that is an empty. And then I just used up one today as well. which is also really nice. So that means I have like a lot less. But within my mascaras, I technically only have two black mascaras. One's a full size, one's a mini, and the others are just all colored mascaras. But they all still have to go in this category. We then move over to foundations. At the start of the year, I had seven. I'm now down to five from like 1st of July. But at this point, I'm actually down to four because I used up one today, which is so nice. And I've got one other one which I'm over halfway through, and that's gonna be the next foundation I really focusing on. So hopefully by the end of the year I'll have even less foundations, which is great. I had four concealers at the start, and that included color correctors as well as like actual concealers. And at the start of July, I had three, which is not bad, honestly speaking. And I've used up, I think, one or two concealers already. And I've also used up some products as color correctors, which has been nice. I think I had one actual color corrector, and then I started using a eyeshadow stick as a color corrector because the shade sort of made sense to use as a color corrector. And now I'm using a Made by Mitchell blush as a color corrector because it works and it makes sense. If I can multi-use a product, I'm gonna do it. So yeah, that's been kind of nice, and hopefully that way I can get a blush done, and that will take that inventory down as well, which would be really good to see. We move over to powders. I had six at the start. I still have six. I used one up. My cousin gave me one because she was getting rid of it and nobody else wanted it and she doesn't like it, so I just took it because she was like, I'm gonna chuck it away otherwise, someone just take it. And I was like, okay, do you know what, I'll just take it and I'll use it. And so I've used that one so far, and I've obviously got that one from her, but by the end of the year I will hopefully have used up another one, which would be really nice because it will take that number down a little bit more as well. At the start of the year, I can't believe I had 103 blushes, and I'm now down to 100 because I decluttered a couple of them, but I did an order like a couple of days ago, and I ended up with another couple of blushes, and that is because Cult Beauty was doing like a curated box, and those all blushes that I wanted, or at least more than half of them is what I wanted, and it just made sense to buy the box because it was so much cheaper to get the box and buy those individually. So yeah, I mean, did I need to do that? Absolutely not. So I think that's something I need to figure out. But yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to have less than triple digits, but we'll see. We'll see. Highlighters, I had 45 and now I have 43. I decluttered some, I pulled some out from a box that I decluttered initially, so that kind of made it go up a little bit. But then I started to use up my liquid highlighters as like underneath my foundation, so it kind of gives a bit of a glow from within, and it's just like a nice way for me to use up these products because they're not going to work on top of foundation, because it just either lifts my foundation or it doesn't really sit well, it kind of separates it, or if I use powder and set it, it doesn't work. So rather than kind of doing all of that stuff, I've just decided to use underneath foundation, and honestly it works, it does the job. I'm not complaining, and the foundations I'm currently using are more like medium coverage, so you can kind of still see it through. Obviously I've then like gone on with powder and I've like really mattified things today because it's so hot, but it's just a nice way for me to use it up. So I've used up one already like this, I'm using up another one now, and I'm hoping I can use up a few more in the same way before the end of the year, which will be really good to see as well. Even though it just have to be the way for like highlighters, but it's fine, at least I get to use up some of these products. We then move over to bronzers. I had four at the start and I'm now down to two, which is crazy. I think I had one full size one that I no, I didn't. I had one I decluttered because it dried down, and I had one like mini little NARS Laguna bronzer which I got as like a gifted purchase at some point last year, so I just used that one up. And now I've got two left, which is great. I don't really bronze that often, and I don't really necessarily feel the need to bronze. I just do it because I have stuff. Um, I'm like almost I'm at the halfway point with one of my bronzers. Hopefully I can use up that one, so it will just have mean that I have like one left. But then I have loads in my face palette, so I don't necessarily need to go and buy some, but it would just be nice to sort of have this category go down a little bit more. I think if I was actually using bronzers a lot more, I'd probably have close to 30, 40, and it'll be something similar to like blushes and highlighters that I have. But because it's something that I don't necessarily like feel the need to do, I don't have that many bronzers, which is nice because it just means at least there's something controlled within my inventory. Move over to face palettes. I had 21 at the start of the year and I'm now down to 20 because I have actually used that one palette. It took me a year and a half to use it, but I finally got it done. Shocking, I know, but that's nice. I'm trying to also avoid buying phase palettes because I realize I don't really use them and they kind of just get neglected in my collection because I don't really think to gravitate towards them at all, and it just doesn't make sense for me to have so many. So I'm now going to try to just focus in on getting them used up alongside project pans and whatever else I'm doing, but just trying to avoid buying them going forward because there's just no point. Um, we have lip liners. I had 69 at the start of the year, then I had 70. I think I used up one, ended up with two new ones, and I've got another new one because I bought a box that I didn't really need from Cult Beauty. So yeah, but I do hope that I get four used up by the end of the year because those are the four that I've been using quite a lot and I've made like decent progress on them. So there is a chance I could have like a good couple of MTs by the end of the year, but just not enough. But we'll see how it goes. Moving on, we have lipsticks. I started off the year with 99 and now have 80 of those. I think I've used up two and I've decluttered a whole bunch of others. There was some I decluttered to my mum because she was looking for some new lipstick shades. She was actually pressing me for some because she sees my collection and she sees hers and she's like, yeah, that's not okay. You need to give me some of yours because you're clearly not going to use it. I mean, she's not either, but you know, it's fine because I gave her a bunch of stuff and it kind of just made it easier for me because I have less things to sort of worry about. And I got rid of a lot of my old sort of expired products as well, which was really helpful. So that's at least gone down to 80, and I hope going forward I can kind of continue to bring that down. I don't think I've bought any new lipsticks this year at all, which has been really good, and I'm really happy with that. But you never know how the rest of the year will go. So I don't want to jinx that just yet, but it's nice the fact that I've used up at least two, and I've given some to my mum so she can use them. Obviously, things that were bad I've just tossed. Um, Next up is glosses. I had 154 at the start. I'm now down to 142. I used up, I think, two or three glosses. I think three glosses. The rest are decluttered. And some of these were like an issue where I wasn't. There was some that obviously old, expired, and stank. I had to get rid of. But I think my lip glosses and liquid lipstick categories kind of got confused. So there was things that were part of my liquid lipsticks that were supposed to be glosses, and then glosses that were supposed to be part of my liquid lipsticks. So I had to kind of figure that out. So the numbers are just, yeah, these are just the approx numbers that we're going to go for. It doesn't help when you have such a large collection of products because it's very easy to kind of get lost in it and confused. It's really not helpful. But I'm hoping at some point I can have less than 140. If I can get down to like close to 130 for the end of the year, I think that'd be fantastic. But that does mean I need to like really focus in on using as many glosses as I can, which will then mean that I have to put my lip balms to the side, ignore them for now, and just solely focus in on lip glosses. But we'll have to see how that goes. Moving on to lip crayons. At the start, I had 29. I'm now down to 22. That's not because I use anything up. I decluttered stuff. So things that were either like too dry and the formula just wasn't usable, I tossed. Anything else that were just colors I wasn't going to use, I gave them to my mum because there was all colors that I know she would love to use, and she's got a deeper skin tone than me, so it makes sense for her to sort of have some of those shades because I know that I'm not necessarily going to go for like really bright pinks, whereas she can still use those. And like I already have enough like dark lipsticks that I don't need really deep sort of lip crayons as well. It doesn't really make sense. I gave some of those to her as well because she sometimes wants specific shades that she doesn't necessarily have, and the ones that I usually do, like the nudist sort of colors, they're too light to work on her. So I gave her the lip crayons that I felt like would work the best on her. So that's why that category went down. Ideally, I would like to have like maybe less than five. I don't, lip crayons and lipsticks basically the same thing. But the reason I've like separated the two is because I had enough to sort of make its own separate category. And it kind of, because of the way that it is, it kind of just in my mind is like separate. But I think if that goes to less than 10, I'm just going to combine lipsticks and lip crayons together and then just have that as one category. But that's a conversation for maybe 2030. We'll see. We move over to liquid lipsticks. I had 114 at the start. I'm now down to 102, which is still a lot. And the reason I ended up with so many lip glosses and liquid lipsticks is because Give Me Glow was in a massive sale where they were getting rid of old stock that they were going to discontinue because they were going to do a whole bunch of like new stuff. And I bought almost every single one of those kits that she released. Did I need it? No. That's the reason why all of my lip liners, liquid lipsticks, and lip glosses had increased to an insane amount because I couldn't stop myself and I felt like I need to get everything. This is why I hate seeing things online when something or a company is discontinuing stuff because then it makes me feel extreme FOMO and then end up buying so much stuff. But I think lessons just have to be learned, and that is lip products last, makeup in general lasts a very long time. And maybe if I do feel the need to still buy stuff, maybe I can limit it to 5 or 10, not I don't know, I think I bought like 15, 20 kits, which is disgusting. But yeah, I ended up with so many, but that's just a lesson I need to learn, and nobody else can teach me that. But yeah, the last sort of category that I have that I do keep an eye on is setting sprays. I had four at the start, I have four now, and that is because I used one up, but then I replaced it with something else. So yeah, I've actually recently used up another one, so technically I only have three, but that's fine. The setting sprays I do get through like a decent amount, so I'm not too worried about them. It's fine. But yeah, that was literally everything for all of the sort of categories. I'm hoping that everything can kind of continue going down and I see progress for like the end of the year. It would be really nice to sort of see products being used up. And for things like hair care and body care, as long as I don't mind the numbers going back up, but ideally it would have to mean that the stuff that I had in the past is like I've gotten use out of. I haven't actually bought that much stuff in 2025, which has been helpful. And some of the things I have bought in 25, I've actually already used them up when it comes to like skincare and body care, which is, and sorry, that was more like haircare stuff, but like still, I've at least used those things up, which has been really nice. But I'm hoping that I can continue and use up stuff from like all the old stuff as well that I've kind of got loitering around too. When it comes to makeup, I have for the most part avoided buying stuff, which has been great. But there has been times when I just couldn't do anything about it, and I felt the urge to buy things because I'm still trying to break away from like the need to constantly buy and rely on shopping as a form of like, I guess, healing, recovery, and like emotionally dealing with things. So yeah, I mean, I'm still in the process of learning those lessons. I do think I've still made a big improvement to where I was, and the fact that when I look at the stuff that I bought this year compared to last year, like how many things I bought, it's crazy because I have so much less this year. I have like, I think altogether it's like less than 100. That includes like makeup and like skincare, haircare stuff. But like last year, by the end of the year, I think I had close to 700 stuff, which is crazy if you think about it. And even like majority of that was just makeup. So yeah, I'm hoping that I can still continue to do some more declutters. I can use up stuff. I can actually see things going in and out of my collection. That'd be great, preferably going out and not coming in. But it's just one of those things that I think it's just something I'm going to have to learn slowly, and hopefully I can become more detached with stuff and let go of stuff. I think that'd be really nice. But I think what I might have to start doing is starting like a couple of new series where I maybe go through all of my lip products, try them, see if I like the shades on me, or then going through my like eyeshadows, just do different things like that and kind of figure out what I want to do. But yeah, I think that is a very long-winded like inventory update. I hope that was somewhat interesting to some of you guys. And hopefully I can do a video at the end of the year of all the makeup that I bought in 2025. I think that'll be kind of fun to see as well. For me personally too, like to see how much I actually bought. But yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it here for now, and I will catch you guys next week for another video. Thank you so much for stopping by.